This is my cast iron pan that I use for just about everything. Now, there was a time in my life when this house was filled with 5 people. I had 3 kids, I had a husband, dogs, cats. The dogs and cats are still here, but no one else is here anymore. I'm all alone, and it's just me, myself, and I. There was a time when every recipe I created was for at least 6 people, because if it wasn't just the 5 of us, there were always friends and other people over here. So I had to make a lot of food. But now I'm just by myself, and I just want dinner in a hurry, and I just want to use 1 pan or 1 pot and 1 plate to make cleanup as easy as possible. So this may look like a big pan for 1 person, but actually it's perfect because I can cook everything in it pretty much at the same time. So today, let me show you how to make a 1-pan dinner that takes about 15 minutes. And it's all about tofu. This is a throwback to one of my earlier books, and now one's an epic here, and I'm just making a really simple marinated tofu. But it has these sort of succulent French flavors because of the red wine that it's going to be marinating in. And the marinade takes literally 3 or 4 minutes. Then you soak your tofu in it, and you just forget about it for, I don't know, 24 hours, 2 or 3 days, whenever you feel like eating it. If you don't get around to eating it, stick it in the freezer and it'll turn into frozen tofu. It's a whole other sensation. So that's what we're going to make today. This I made last night. It's been soaking in here. Look at that. And I've got 1 steak for myself. If I happen to have someone over, I can do 2. I can put the other one away. I can refrigerate it, freeze it, whatever. So we're going to make that. And I'm going to start out with a cup of red wine. And this is just red wine from the gatherings that I have had that was just left over. I'm going to throw that in there. And in goes some soy sauce, about a 1/4 cup. A few tablespoons of olive oil. Okay, a couple tablespoons of either red wine vinegar or balsamic vinegar. This is balsamic. And this is a highly concentrated one, so it's going to give a little bit of sweetness to that. I'm going to add some, what is this called? This is called tomato paste. Yes, we're going to add some tomato paste to this. So I'm going to stir this well. All right, then we're going to add 3 or 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. So this whole recipe was created back in the late 1980s when I was living in Tokyo. And at the time, something called tofu steak became all the rage. And so whatever restaurant you went to, you could always count on getting tofu steak. And that's what this was. All right, I've got some fresh rosemary from the garden. If you don't have it, you can use dried. But I do have fresh. And fresh is lovely. Except when it's an attitude. Now we're going to add the tofu. This is going to make 2 steaks. If you want to do fillets and make more, you can do the same thing. Let me empty out the water here. Here's what I did. I just cut it in half like this. And then I scored the top. And this will help the flavor sort of infuse into the middle. And I did one other thing too, which I'd never done before. Which is I took one of these and I boiled it in some salt water, just like for my egg salad recipe, just to see if it would make a difference. And the other I did not. Okay, so this one is just going to go in straight like this. And you can marinate this for a minimum of a few hours. This is something you can do on a Sunday and then just, pull out a steak when you want to cook it on a weeknight. So I'm just going to boil this for a few minutes in some salt water. And then I'll marinate it, and we'll see if it makes any difference. So this is the boiled tofu. I let it drain for a minute. As you can see, this is completely wet now, my paper towels. And it's got this nice bouncy texture. I'm going to put this in the marinade, and we're going to taste the difference. Now I'm going to chop up some veggies. This is what I had in my refrigerator from the garden that I picked yesterday. I've got some chard here, some kale. What else do I have? Oh, a big, I think this is from purple cauliflower. I took a leaf of that too. So we're just gonna chop these up. And I also had some oyster mushrooms in the refrigerator. If you don't have these, that's okay. But this will make my tofu a little bit fancier. We'll take what I cooked yesterday and we're gonna take it over here to my one pan. We're gonna add some oil to this pan and just get that oil nice and hot. So now we're gonna get the tofu in there, get that nice and hot. This is the one that I did not boil. This is the way I normally do it. Oh, listen to that sizzle. This is the one that I did boil. Let's see if there's any difference after we cook them. Gonna add the mushrooms right there on the side. Okay, while we're waiting for the mushrooms and the tofu steak to cook, I want to tell you about what's happening in October. Miyoko's Vegan Cooking School in Naples, Italy. Yes, I'm going to Naples for 3 weeks, teaching 3 weeks of cooking classes, starting October 14th through 18th, 21st to 25th, and October 28th to November 2nd. The first week and the second week will have a different curriculum, and the third week will be the same as the first week. So you can enroll for either 1 week, or you can enroll for the first and the second week, or the second week and the third week. We're going to be staying in the heart of Naples. We'll be taking all kinds of cultural and food excursions. It'll just be a small group. And what's really exciting is that we're going to be doing this cooking class in this huge studio where they film sort of like the Food Network of Italy. So it is really upscale. It is going to be a fantastic trip. And it's filling up fast. So if you are interested, click on the link, look at the link. Just Google Miyoko, Naples, cooking. That's another way to get there. All right, so I'm gonna throw a little salt on the mushrooms. Just let them brown. Let's just take a peek at what that looks like. Oh yes. I'm just gonna add a little more curry. All right, the boiled tofu, it's been boiling for about 3 minutes. I'm gonna pull it out now. And I'm gonna let it drain here. And a lot of water is gonna come out. And boiling the tofu renders it firmer and with sort of a bouncy texture. So I'm really curious to see how it plays out when I marinate it. These mushrooms look incredible. All right, so I'm gonna sort of push these mushrooms aside now. And now I have room to add my greens. Add a little garlic to the greens. I'm going to take the greens out because they look perfect. All right, now we're going to deglaze the pan with some of this lovely marinade. That's going to lift the tofu off the bottom here. Oh my God, look at that. Doesn't that look incredible? It's going to infuse the mushrooms with some wonderful flavor. Just look at that. Oh my gosh. I'm going to turn this off. Mushrooms go on top. This one's going to go on a different plate. This is the one that I boiled. While I've got all that lovely flavor stuck to the bottom of the pan, I'm going to add some vegetable broth. I'm going to add my couscous. All of that flavor is getting lifted off the bottom. It's going to infuse my couscous. My Israeli couscous with a lot of wonderful flavor. This is just a mix, but you can do this with any kind of couscous. And it cooks up in about 10 minutes. Okay, the couscous is ready. Just take a look at that. You can use any kind of couscous. You can do quinoa as well. And my pan, because it lifted all of that gunk off. It's going to be really easy to wash. Oh my God, now look at this dinner. Yes, looks like something that came from a restaurant. But actual total prep time was about 15 minutes in my home. Now let's give it a taste. So we're going to try this one. This is just the plain marinated tofu. And then I have this one over here that I parboiled the tofu before. So let me before marinating, that is. It's so tasty. It's got all these complex flavors. The wine, the garlic, a little bit of acid from the balsamic vinegar. It's delicious. Oh, and the mushrooms just take it over the top. And as you can see, that cast iron pan will make dinner for one or two, one with leftovers. Now try this one here that I parboiled and see if it makes any difference at all. Maybe not. I've never done it before. I just thought, hey, I'll give it a try. There's a very slight difference in texture. I think I prefer this one, but if you don't want to bother, this is also sufficiently delicious. Sufficiently delicious. They're both delicious. And you have all this marinade left over. Don't throw it away. Put it in a jar. You can use it again and again and again. You can just throw it into your vegetables to add a little bit of sauce, maybe over some mashed potatoes or in mashed potatoes. Thicken it with a little bit of cornstarch for a glaze for another dish. The possibilities are endless. You make the marinade once, use it multiple times in many different dishes. Life is easy, even if you're all alone. So, thanks for joining me again in my kitchen for the Vegan Good Life with Miyoko. This is life by myself. How many are you cooking for? See you again next time.